Well, welcome to a new Harry's Garage video, and today's car is pretty special. It is the Lister XJS Mark III, and this car dates from 1991. Now, if you were a reader of performance car magazines in the 80s and 90s, then you will know Fastlane, and Lister was one of those hero cars. When you saw it on the cover, you just had to buy it because this was the ultimate version. They did crazy things to Jaguars and the XJS in particular. This car is 7 litres and it's twin supercharged and it's got 604 horsepower. And having lived with it for a few days, it really has 604 horsepower. It's also got 614 pound-foot of torque. And if you look at the Fastlane 1989, they put it on the cover. This is the Le Mans version, which I'll go in a moment, 200 miles an hour. Very special car. Let's go and have a closer look. Now, there's serious intent. As soon as you see this, if you saw this in the mirror, you knew this car meant business. Yeah, deeper air dam, very different look to a regular XJS, and gone are the single headlights for the twin headlight conversion. US cars always had the twin headlight conversion, but that was new on this car. There is a Le Mans version of the Lister, and you can, though, is even more modified at the front because they actually drop the bonnet down and you lose this grille here. The idea was to make it more aerodynamic. Tom Lempfel, who looks after a number of Listers, says it wasn't a great idea because it does make the cooling marginal, and with a 7 litre engine under there, you do want as much cooling as you can get. But come round the side and just look at these box arches, glorious 1980s design. They were in all Listers. That was a signature, and the muscle they added to the regular Boulevard Cruiser XJS. And this is not a cheap conversion. An XJS in 1990-91 was £36,000 new. If you wanted to get it to this Lister Mark III 7 litre twin supercharged, then according to the invoices in the history file for this car, you had to spend a further £80,000 on top, so 115,000 or thereabouts for this car. You come round the side and then you've got these monster 18-inch wheels, Lister wheels on it, and a massive rim. I think it's 10-inch rims at the front, and this car is actually on 265/40 by 18s. I think it should be on 245, but yeah, real muscle there. And inside that wheel, AP racing brakes, so 13.2-inch discs and proper stopping power, grooved ventilated discs on it. It's having driven this car, brakes are really good, really sharp on it. And then just look at it. You come around the side, next alteration, streamlined mirror here, sort of cowling around the wing mirror on it, big vents, feeding air into the inboard brakes still on this particular model. You could get outboard brakes as an option, and 13-inch wide rims at the rear, and this car is carrying 335 30 tyres. Monster great tyres on it. Now, the Le Mans version was quite interesting. That is a step above this one. It's purely bodywork, and the idea of the Le Mans version was not only more streamlined 200 miles an hour, but it gained more seating room in the back to make it a supposedly 4-seater. And they made this all glass, this vent went, but I suppose the most recognisable thing, it was a fastback. They got rid of this window here and it became a fastback down here. But this version, I think, is my favourite because it's very clever how they integrate this rear spoiler. If you just look down this channel, it sits up from the standard XJS there. This is raised and comes up and then feeds into this rear spoiler. Very clever, and it's very distinctive when you get round the back. The back view, what they've done very cleverly is move the standard rear lights up, and then you get the spotlight back down here, fog light, whatever, and it just sort of looks standard, but it just gives this extra muscle because the spoiler links in with the rear lights, but this is actually raised. Very clever. Now, being a GT car, you get a reasonable boot in it. There you go, there's a spare front wheel, so full size spare, but not full size for the rear jacking point and stuff. So, as ever, a very usable car. The only surprise is the size of those exhausts. You don't think that's a 7-litre twin supercharged engine. In today's world, that they would be much bigger, but no doubting the performance of it, and it makes a very cultured sound. It's not loud and like you'd expect today. It's a very cultured but very definitely V12 noise. And I love the Lister badging picked out in red on the black there, and their lovely symbol with the machetes or whatever they are, showing strength, power and engineering. One point on this car, dating from 1991, yeah, this is the thing you had. This meant it had a phone in it, which is, you know, early days of in-car phones. That's a Vodafone area. And we'll have a look at the inside when we get outside, but just look at that phone in the center console. Just love it. The other thing to notice on the inside are the fantastic Recaro seats, which I can't praise enough. They really suit the car. I have to say, I've done lots of miles in it and they're terrific. And also the 6-speed manual gearbox, and the gearbox comes out of a BMW 850i CSI. Really good gearbox. Now let's have a look at the engine. Bonnet comes up and reveals, yes, the normal tangled mess that of a Jaguar XJS. The V12 Jaguar is not the most elegant engine in the world, but my goodness, it's potent and super smooth in this configuration. It's got its own map on this car. They have different injectors in here, and you can see just about the supercharger. They use superchargers to reduce the heat under the bonnet. They could have gone turbocharged, but they thought supercharged suited it better. There's a much bigger radiator, as you wouldn't be surprised to hear. And the superchargers, if you just follow that pipe down, and you can see that red sort of connection thing, the supercharger just sits there, and it's belt driven. And coming off the crank, there are 2 belts. There's one supercharger that side and there's one supercharger this side, but you can't really see. All you see is it's tangled of wires and ignition and injectors and all sorts of things under here. But yeah, a really good engine. It's just fantastic to sit behind this tuned V12, 7 litres. Now, let's take it outside and I'll show you how it drives. Yeah, stepping back into an XJS. Obviously I had that one, took it to south of France, relived the brochure. But this is a more modern one. This is a 89, 90 car. It's got different instrumentation packs, got a sort of computer there. Oh, I love this phone, some lovely details. Just going to get the ventilation going. There we are. Just starts up. Looking around the camera, it's really nicely trimmed, and I love these Recaro seats. I think Aston were using it at the same time as well. I've got mirror adjusters here and little prods. They're not electric, but they're some cable and they work their way through. But God, just so reminiscent. I really like the trim and how this one's been set up. I think he's had a later radio put in one of these that looks like an old style Blaupunkt, but it actually has Bluetooth and all those sort of things. Yeah, and the phone. How 90s is that to have that sat there in the middle of that? That's on the invoice. I also quite like, if you open the glove box, there's a little plaque here. It says PS Lister, LP Automotive Limited, and their direct lines if you get issues, and it's got chassis number, engine number, and what oil you use, valve clearance and ignition timing. Really useful. I think the other thing I noticed in here, yeah, proper handbook. There we are, Lister Automotive. Just really nice details. If you're looking for one of these cars, and in front of me, Lister Le Mans wheel, smaller wheel than the actual XJS used to get, and Lister instruments, which I didn't spot immediately, but yes, they say Lister, red line at 6,500 on the rev counter, and then a speedo that goes up to 200 miles an hour. Annoyingly, the last mile an hour is 190 miles an hour. I would rather it said 200. It's just instantly feel at home in here. I'm just going to put a bit of fan on, there we go. And 6-speed gearbox. Oh, it's a bit noisy. Yeah, 6-speed gearbox, light throw, reverse is a little bit of a struggle to get in, but yeah, all bodes well. So let's head out. Already I can just tell sort of muscle, ease, motion. The gear change is lighter than you expect. Yeah, can't wait. Sort of quite heavy steering. I suppose those enormous tyres take over the steering. Out of here. Muscle. That's the first sense of this thing. There's just muscle everywhere with these engines. Doesn't matter the revs, wallop, off you go. I mean, it doesn't really sound very, uncouth or anything. It doesn't feel like a tuned engine. It's super smooth. Jaguar V12 was always a creamy, smooth engine. And it's not destroyed, but there is an edge to it. And the other thing I noticed is just sort of much sharper steering than you expect of a Jaguar XJS of this age, and just a little bump thumps. You can feel slightly brittle on the suspension. Again, those enormous tyres and just firmed up suspension we go to, but in no way is it, annoyingly so. It's just, this is a Jaguar with attitude. This is a Lister 7-litre, and not noisy. I measured it on my noisy bit of road, 75 decibels. The thing that strikes you in here is it's quite tight. It's this great big car on the outside, and then you get in and the windscreen's quite close to you, and I can just about touch the door the other side. It's just very enclosed. It's a surprise, but then you have to remember that XJS came out in the 70s, and cars were basically a bit smaller then. And there's a little fizz from the gearbox. You've got to remember, you could not get a manual gearbox on XJS, and it absolutely defines this car, having this 6-speed manual, transformed my XJ Coupe having a 5-speed manual in that car, instead of the 3-speed automatic used to get on XJS. Right, I think I might actually try second for the squirt up the hill. There we are, in second, 30 miles an hour, 2,500 RPM. Oof. It's extraordinary inside. It just gets on with it. It feels, dare I say it, quite modern, the way it moves off. Sort of just this grunt and torque, no issues with the engine, no thrashiness, just smooth, creamy power. That's what I want for my V12. There we are, there's that little sizzle from the gear stick as well. And yeah, the performance figures in its day, oh my goodness. I mean, Fastlane figured the supercharged 7-litre Le Mans, so just with a different nose to this, everything else about the car is the same. And 4.7 to 60 they got, 10.9 seconds to 100 miles an hour. You're into Countach land there, and that's all the more remarkable when you realise this car is, it's 1,800 kilos. I haven't had a chance to weigh it, but that was the declared weight, and I would expect that is about right. But with 7 litres of supercharged V12 at the front, there's no issues at all. 1,800 kilos, I'll get on. And now I'm in 6. How many revs I got? 1,500 revs. And it just is absolutely fine. And if you see that in gear times, I think 80 to 100 miles an hour in fourth. So, what's fourth go up to? I don't know. Fourth probably take you well past 130 miles an hour. 3 point something seconds. Anyway, let's see what it behaves up like this. So into third, which I might just try second round here. Turning so much sharper than you expect. I can feel it just following cambers and things. Well, that's not really surprising with 265 tyres on the front. Just a little shimmy along here, but not bad. You're not in an RS-esque type of car. You're definitely in a GT car, all very friendly. And I can't help but change gear. It's incredibly light, the gear change. Not what I was expecting at all. It's just the poke, and it's transformed by having a smaller, beautiful wheel. instead of the great big wheel that Jaguar puts on, and somehow Lister have engineered feel into the steering that just isn't there on a standard XJS. The change to P7 tyres obviously makes a huge difference. Sounds even better on the outside. Strangely, you seem to get more impression there. I thought there'd be more supercharger whine, but it's not really there. And it's quick to blip, as you heard there. Oh, it's a great noise. Through these bends. It hardly rolls to the wider track. You would take this out on roads like this. You would think, I'm going to have a bit of fun here. And yet, you could fly up a motorway serenely at low revs, listening to your favourite music or something, no problem at all. Yes, probably time to go through some likes and dislikes with this car. I'm not going to call them dislikes, because I haven't got any basically on this car. Just things I've noted. Just the fit of trim inside isn't absolutely perfect. Some things are slightly loose, but then you just think this was a £36,000 XJS, and they weren't exactly bulletproof cars in the way they were constructed, so that's not an issue. Then, well, it does like a drink. If you enlarge your already quite large V12 to 7 litres and then add 2 superchargers, both those things don't do great things for a fuel economy. And if on this lovely thing, my average fuel consumption is 11. It's actually gone up. It was 10.8 when I picked the car up. Somehow it's now 11. Fortunately, you have an enormous tank, and 3, air conditioning could be stronger, but that's again, when you think back to this car, they then updated the sort of air conditioning and heating pack on later Jaguars. That just goes with this age of car, I'm afraid. But the likes, oh my goodness. Where do you start? I'm going to start with presence. You just see this car and you think, yeah, I'm very glad I own a Lister, because it just looks muscle, purposeful. There's intent written from every panel. Right, favourite bend's just up ahead. Feels quite a big car for this sort of road. Until you get to where you sit here, I'll be interested what it's like around here. Into the third here, good brakes. Really love the pedal on this. Might take second round here. Yeah, around here, be a bit cruel with it. Yeah, just nibbling. It's just so smooth and easy, the power this car has. So easy to modulate. Really good. Yeah, I think I'm going to add another like with cars, and that's supercharged engines. I can't think of a bad supercharged engine. Obviously I've got the Jaguar and I've got the Project 7, but remember the R30 Mini, the supercharged Mini Cooper S when that first came out. That was terrific, and this really suits supercharging as well. It's a fabulous 5 out of 5 engine. Just shows you what they could have done with this V12. Then I love the easy gearing gear change, as long as you don't mention trying to get into reverse. Super slick gear change, great ratios, lower gear than you expect in the lower ratios, higher gears in the top ratios, easy creamy, and 6 is a usable gear. Brakes get a special mention as well. They feel tireless on the road, feel powerful, standard on its nose, solid pedal, all good. Slightly awkward heel and toe, but that's about it. And then just practicality and usability. You could munch miles to your heart's content. I noticed one of the owners, second owner I think it was, bought the car at 3,000 miles, and very quickly it was at 25,000 miles. He was doing like 8,000 miles a year while he owned it, and I can quite understand, because you can just use it every day. Even the clutch weight isn't that bad on it as well. But yeah, and you think about the price of it. Yeah, 80,000 to convert your XJS. If you bought a new one, they're 36,500, wasn't it? 117,000 all told. Well, the price of a Testarossa in this day was 115,000. So you get this car for the price of a Testarossa. linear, the power on it. Yeah, where were we? Testarossas. Yeah. So yeah, the price. The other thing you got to remember about the price: how many Lister built. I reckon there was around 90 modified XJSs in their time. They bought the company in 1986, so that's when it started, and then they went on to Lister Storm and Racing, Lawrence Pierce, and yeah, quite a short history when these cars were in production. And I think there's 25 of these supercharged 7-litre cars. I ought to mention also this car is for sale. My son Charlie, Metcalf Cars, he has it for sale. And yeah, as soon as I saw it coming, I was, oh, I've just got to have a go in that. And quite often when you get hold of a car that's your hero from the magazines, with those magazines I was reading in the 80s, you always worry whether it's really going to be as good as you hope it is. I can assure you that it is. It's 35 years old, this car. It's bloody magic. And it's this all-round competence I just can't get over. This is a really easy sort of car to live with, feels sorted. And I've hugely enjoyed driving it. I hope you've enjoyed this video as well. If you have, well, keep watching, keep subscribing, because there'll be more videos coming along very soon. Thanks for watching.